So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this lunchtime session. We kindly have Glenn and Jez also from Provek. So this Lunch and Learn is focusing on the Level 4 Associate Project Management Apprenticeship Programme. So hopefully you'll have seen kind of the launch at the Project Futures Festival that we ran back in February. Alongside 3 other apprenticeship programmes that we're running. So there will be more of these Lunch and Learn sessions that you're able to join. Just for a bit more information, I do have some attachments that I can send to everybody who's on the call today. So please read those at your leisure. Come back to us with any questions that you may have. We'll add the NHS Project Futures email address into the chat function for you. I'll just share my screen just so I can show you a couple of things. Bear with me. Okay, can somebody just shout up if you can see that? If see my screen?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yep.
Excellent. So this was a landing page for the Project Futures Festival. So it is currently active, and we do have it for 6 months in total after, so we've got another 5 months on here. So you can still access that with your login details that you had. And within here, if you go to the exhibitor area, you will be able to see kind of all of the exhibitors, which will be the apprenticeship providers, but there is a section here for Provek. So there's a bit more detail about them in here, and we do have some documents here as well, where you can find a bit more information. The sessions that we had permissions to record at the festival are all uploaded onto our YouTube channel. So again, we can share that link with you if you don't currently have that, but you can see them all linked there. And one of those specific sessions, of course, was the networking session, which was the launch of our 4 apprenticeship programmes. So please do have a look at those if you missed the sessions, or if you wanted just a bit of a refresher. All that information is there for you. So I'm hoping that everybody on the call did complete the expressions of interest form that we sent round. If not, we can still send that out, and you've got time to complete that. But we did have kind of in excess of 200 people who completed that, which is amazing, really. So today's session obviously was just a really quick, brief intro from myself. I said I do work alongside Mike in the Corporate Portfolio Office at Health Education England. So we do work together on the Project Futures and the Project Profession Programme also. But today on the call, we're going to have a presentation from Glenn. So thank you very much for joining us, Glenn, who's going to take you through kind of the content and a bit more information on the Level 4 Project Manager Apprenticeship Programme. Glenn, over to you. Do you want to see if you can share your screen?
Thanks, Jocelyn. Hopefully, can you see that?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's there now. Thank you.
Superb. Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, and good morning, afternoon, everybody. My name's Glenn Sutty. I'm the Business Development Director at Provek, and I'm with my colleague Jez Nelson, who's the Business Development Manager, and together we'll be supporting you if you decide this programme's right for you, and hopefully you enrol in one of our programmes. As Jocelyn said, the main purpose for me today really is to give you a really good understanding of the programme. We like to make sure that every learner that comes on any of our programmes comes in with eyes wide open, so you understand the commitment as well as the benefits. I understand that we've got a mix of people on today, so there's potential line managers as well as individuals. So I'm going to also touch on line managers' roles and responsibilities, because they play a critical role for any individual who comes on this programme. I'll briefly touch on us as a company in case you're not familiar with us, but I hope by the end of today you'll have a really great understanding, and ultimately you can decide and make an informed decision as to whether this programme is for you. And then if we can just save questions to the end. Apologies, I'd presume to make it interactive, but because the number of people on there, hopefully we'll cover most of the content that you would want to ask questions on, but if not, then we can go through those at the end too. So without further ado, what is the Level 4 Associate Project Manager Programme? Well, it's a foundation degree program that's designed to develop and nurture you as well-rounded, technically proficient project managers. So the program itself consists of a mix of different learning activities. So there'll be group workshops, there'll be personal coaching and mentoring. You'll be required to do self-study, but probably the most important part of this program is then the on-the-job learning, because unlike a typical 4 or 5 day training course that is really designed to take you through to get a qualification, this is a professional development program, and it will make a significant difference to your confidence and competence, because ultimately it's through the on-the-job learning you will embed the new skills and tools that you're learning as you go through. So throughout the program, you're going to be required to learn skills and then get experience of those in the workplace. And then throughout and near the end of the program, you will hopefully achieve 2 professional qualifications. The program includes the APM's PMQ qualification, and the APM are the Association for Project Management. They're the charter body for project management in the UK. And the PMQ is a really great and well-respected qualification. And hopefully you will also achieve your pass, merit or distinction, which is your level 4 Associate Project Manager Award. The program is suitable for a wide range of individuals. Crucially and most importantly, you really need to be working in a project management environment. You need to be working on projects or within that environment so that you can get the experience of the on-the-job learning. So in addition to that, we see people that are perhaps work package managers, so working as part of the PMO and looking to get to that next step in their career. And we also see experienced project managers, so people that have probably fallen into project management but maybe have never received any formal training or gained any qualifications. And just as an example, these are some of the many different types of job titles that we see enrolling on our program. All of these individuals are typically involved in projects or managing projects as part of their role, and are looking to become more capable, I guess, and more efficient in the way that they manage projects. We offer flexibility in as far as we offer what are called closed programs and open programs. So for those of you on the call today that perhaps are decision makers, one of the main ways we deliver programs is through closed cohorts, i.e. we are delivering them within your region or within your trust. We can be very flexible with the start date, so we can start the program when you're ready to, given resources available. Typically the cohort is a minimum of 12 learners or more, and we can tailor the program as well, so we can really bring it to life through focusing on perhaps more important topics, understanding important aspects that you want to get out of the program, and also invite internal subject matter experts to come along and bring some of these subjects to life from an NHS perspective. So as we start getting more and more familiar with the NHS and with you as individuals, we'll start to hopefully coordinate and bring some of those programs to, some of you together and maybe do these closed programs. In the short term, if there's individuals that want to start like really quickly, we also offer open programs. So these are programs that are open to individuals to enroll. They run roughly every 2 or 3 months, and I've included there the schedule of dates we've got for the rest of this year. And ultimately, this provides obviously a higher degree of flexibility because you don't need to get a cohort of 12. You can simply enrol as individuals. And also, you'll get to meet individuals from other organisations as well. So get to hear about project management from a different perspective, which can equally as beneficial as perhaps delivering the programmes in a closed way. Because this is regulated training, it's an apprenticeship at the end of the day, there are some eligibility criteria that you will need to meet to be able to come onto a programme. I've listed here a few bullets of the typical things that we need to check with you. That we will look after all of this, so don't worry about this. We will ask certain questions that will flush this out and make sure that you are eligible. The main one I want to draw your attention to is the level 2 qualification in English Maths. Because this is an apprenticeship, you are required to have a minimum level 2 in English and Maths by the end of the programme. Now, if you've already got your GCSE or GCE or a foreign equivalent, that's absolutely fine. You will need also to produce your certificates to us. If you can't produce your certificates or you haven't got this, we will need to put you on something called functional skills, and it will be some additional training, and then we'll ask you to sit an English and a Maths test, probably around month 5 or 6 in the programme. Just want to make you aware of this. Please don't let it put you off. Around 30% of learners end up doing functional skills, and we will do a tailored programme and get you through it as quickly as possible. But it is important that you're aware of this before enrolling onto the programme. I mentioned that we do full screening. So as part of our process, Provek, and as I go through the program in more detail, you'll come to realise one of our key, I think, important things to us is we deliver quality training. We're not about quantity. So we're quite a small company, and everything we do is meant to be around quality. So one of the things we will ensure we do is not set you up to fail. We will go through a full screening process with you. We will check your job role with you through a series of questions to make sure that your job role is suitable, to make sure that you really enjoy and get most out of this program. If we've got any concerns through the form, you don't need to worry about that at that stage. What we'll do is probably talk to your line manager and just make sure that they're aware and that they can give you the extra commitment that they may need to do and support to make sure that this is a really good experience for you. In addition to your suitability, we'll also check your eligibility, and we'll also benchmark your current level of skills and experience. We have to kind of do this as part of the program, but it's really great because what it will do is we'll see where you are right now. So it's important that you are absolutely transparent and honest, and don't worry about where you are, because this is a 30-month journey and you're going to grow significantly throughout. But at the end of the program, we will also do another benchmark to see where you are at the end of the program, so we can demonstrate to you how much you've grown, and also provide information to your line manager so they also get an understanding on their return on their investment in you throughout this duration. So that's just a bit of background. Let's get into the kind of does this program actually look like. So it's a 13-month commitment from you, and there are different learning activities that we will cover with you throughout. There are 9 days of group workshops. These are generally all delivered virtually, although as we come out of lockdown, if it's a closed cohort, we can deliver them on site. But generally we deliver them virtually because it provides a lot of flexibility. And there are 9 one-day group workshops where you come together and obviously meet your trainer and work with them through activities. The workshops themselves, we've got the induction day. That's the very first workshop. That's where it's almost like the first day of term. It's where you come together as a group for the first time, get to meet all of your colleagues, get to meet your trainer and get your individual learning plan. We then cover the content across 6 unit workshops. So we will introduce some of the key topics throughout these workshops, and we cover those through the 6 following days. Once we've covered the 6 unit workshops, we then have a dedicated workshop to prepare you for the PMQ exam. You sit the PMQ exam in month 10, and then you have a final one-day workshop, which is your endpoint assessment prep workshop. And I'll talk about the endpoint assessment a little bit later. One of the key things about the workshops is from Unit 2, we will start to introduce practice exam questions for your exam in month 10. And we do this for very good reason. We've taken many individuals through the PMQ examination. And one of the key things that we know is important for you is to have good exam technique as well as knowledge. So we want to make sure that you understand things like the difference between describe versus explain. These are key words the APM use that we need to make sure that you're confident in knowing how to answer those questions effectively. So we'll give you lots of practice questions. We will give you feedback from the trainers too, so you can really develop your confidence as well as your knowledge by the time you come to sit your exam. The workshops themselves are roughly every 6 weeks apart, and then below that you can see the first of those red arrows, which is the personal coaching sessions. In addition to the group workshops, you're going to get personal coaching from your trainer as well. So there is one dedicated trainer that will be covering all of the program with you. Every single one of our trainers are experienced project or program managers. They're very credible people, but they're also experienced trainers. So when you have your coaching sessions, they will be able to share their experiences with you too. They will either coach you to help you find the answers for yourself, or they will mentor you to then maybe suggest or help you find the solution, but with a bit more of assistance along the way. And the coaching sessions themselves are 1 hour long, also virtual, and they fall between the workshops. So you will get a regular touch point with your trainer roughly every 3 weeks. As well as the coaching, you're going to be required to do self-study. So we provide all of the resources for you, and they're contained within the online portal called Bud. And I'll show you Bud in a second. So you'll be required to do self-study each week. And then once you are following the self-study, it's then about getting the experience of those new tools and techniques, those best practice theories that you've read about, and then understanding how they relate to you in the role that you do and the projects that you're working on. Following getting that experience, you're going to be required to write some learning assignments throughout the program. You'll be required to write 15 learning assignments, and they're roughly about 3 sides of A4, roughly each. So the purpose of those learning assignments really are to encourage you to take just a step back from your day job and actually reflect on how things have improved for you through doing these new, using these new tools and techniques. And it will reinforce the learning, and it will actually embed the learning. So as you start to progress through the program, and literally from about probably month 2 or 3, you will start to see a change in the way that you're managing projects and the way you approach them. And it will absolutely develop your efficiencies in the way you approach projects, and it will 100% develop your confidence too. So that's a bit about the program structure. The content itself, this is the program content. There are 17 learning areas to the standard that are designed to develop your knowledge, skills and behaviours. Now, we could teach you those 17 units, I guess, as isolated subjects, but what we've instead done is broken them out into 6 core units, and we've done this for very good reason. We're a project management training specialist, and we know that project managers generally are logical, well-structured people. So what we're going to do in some respects is tell you a story. We're going to start off with the soft skills. So we'll start with things like leadership and communication, stakeholder management, things like that. So the softer skills, and then we'll move into more technical concepts from unit 2. And as we progress through those remaining units, you will start to see how some of the early things we've covered will influence the later things, and just see how topics interrelate. So the program will feel far more logical to you. It'll be far more structured, and hopefully it'll be far more easier to understand and obviously therefore enjoyable. As I mentioned, for closed programs, if we deliver programs actually within the NHS, within your regions, or within groups of NHS individuals, what we'll also do is look to invite internal subject matter experts to come along to some of the workshops and talk about things like maybe governance, or talk about stakeholder management, or procurement, and bring some of these things really to life and share their experiences, their war stories, their lessons learned, so you can hear firsthand from people who've already been there and done it within the NHS. For the open programs, we don't have that ability to do that, because ultimately we're going to be working with many different organisations. So you'll be working with colleagues from different places. So they're some of the differences between the open and closed programs. But there's no disadvantage to either. And ultimately, what we're going to be taking you through is industry best practice, because what you're looking at here is what a Trailblazer group has defined as what every good project manager should know in the UK. So by completing the program with us, we are going to absolutely align your skills to what every good project manager in the UK should understand to be able to manage projects effectively. So I talked about Bud. Bud is the online portal that you'll be using ultimately to manage your whole apprenticeship. We will give you full training on Bud at the launch day. We also give line managers access to your learning progress record, so they can see how you're progressing as well as we produce monthly reports for them as well. But the line managers can see at a high level how you're progressing. But this is where you're going to be managing your whole apprenticeship. Bud is a great system, and we've got experience of using a previous system. We actually replaced it because it actually got some negative criticism. It's probably the only thing that was criticised really about our program at the time. So we've moved to Bud, and I'm so pleased we did, and you'll benefit from that because it's so well structured. It's really nice and intuitive to use. And as you can see, when you go into your individual learning plans, week on week, you'll see the activities that you need to complete. So you'll know exactly what you need to do when. You'll see a due date, and you'll see a status check of how far you're progressing through that. So things I've talked about, things like self-study modules, practice questions, learning assignments, they're all here, and you'll see which ones you need to do each week. As you go into each of those activities, you'll then see the content that we've produced for you. So in the case of self-study modules, we've got a really nice mix. We've got a mix of videos from our online learning platform called the PM channel. So we've got industry experts, we've got our trainers covering various content. There's some really good video content in there. And there's also some really good documentation too. The documentation is all taken from our PMQ study book, which is kind of a well-proven book because we provide it to every candidate that goes on our PMQ course. But what we've done for the apprenticeship is broken it out into bite-sized chunks of learning. So when you study each topic, you will then see the PMQ study book articles from that particular section. And what you can be confident about is that everything you study is going to prepare you for your PMQ. There's no fluff or additional content that you need to worry about. You just need to study all of this, and this will prepare you really well to take you forward to your PMQ exam. With regards to the PMQ practice questions, early on, we'll get you to work in small groups. We'll develop your confidence in how to approach these questions. And then as you start to complete them online through the Bud portal, we will also include things like sample answers, so you can see what a good answer looks like, and also potentially what a not so good answer looks like, to help you be able to answer these questions effectively. All of your practice PMQ questions will be reviewed by your trainer, so you'll also get feedback, and that's really important because that will really help you understand how you can improve and progress through the PMQ understanding. So taking you through the journey, we're getting to month 10 now. So this is where you will actually sit your PMQ exam. It's a tough exam. It's a 3-hour written exam. You'll be required to answer 10 from 16 questions, and the pass mark is 55%. What we've done is we've looked historically through the people that have been probably most successful versus least successful on their first time. And what we've decided is, and we've put in place, are 2 key performance indicators. So by the time you come to sit the PMQ, we will have needed you to completed 12 of your learning assignments and also 15 practice questions as a minimum. So we do this for very good reason. We think by doing this, and we will track this with you to make sure that you don't fail to meet these, but this will maximise your success in passing first time. It would also avoid a period of overload for you in the last stage of the programme. The last thing we want you to do is get through this big hurdle and then still feel you've still got yet more hurdles to get through. So we want to get you through most of the programme by this point. So you've covered all of the topic areas. You'll be able to go into the exam knowing that you're going to be well prepared to hopefully pass this first time. So all being well, you have passed, and then you get to the very final stage now, which is month 13, and this is your endpoint assessment. So in month 12, the month before your endpoint assessment appointment, I guess, you will be required to submit your learning assignments, which are collated and become what's called a portfolio of evidence. So it's almost like a dissertation. You also have to record a 15-minute presentation, and we will run through all of these things with you at the endpoint preparation workshop. And then in month 13, you will meet 2 external assessors and have a 40-minute professional interview. They will have seen your portfolio of evidence, they will have seen through your presentation, and they will ask you a series of questions around your portfolio of evidence. Now, I've met quite a few learners who've been through this, and they've actually said they've really enjoyed it. Now, as long as you prepare hard, it's not meant to be a grilling. It's really meant to be a positive experience to allow you to showcase how much you've developed throughout the programme. So if they think you're a borderline pass merit or borderline merit in distinction, they will go out of their way to ask you some perhaps more in-depth questions to see if they can get that extra information out of you, that they can see that you've got the potential there. And if you can meet their criteria, then you will achieve the grade that you're absolutely worthy of. Now, I'm pleased to say, and I've included here our success rates. We've got a 99% success rate on all of the candidates that have gone through to EPA so far. So hopefully that gives you a real, strong feeling of confidence that you'll be in really safe hands if you come with us. To date, 247 learners have achieved the EPA. So we've had literally 1 person fail, which is sad clearly for them and us. But even more importantly, perhaps, over around 75–80% have achieved merits or distinctions. So we've also had feedback from endpoint assessment assessors, and they've actually said that they can tell when someone from Provek has come onto their endpoint assessments. They are so much more confident, they are so much more organised, the quality of their portfolio of evidence is excellent. So I hope that gives you a really good good feeling that if you come with us, we will really prepare you well for your endpoint assessment. I mentioned line managers. For those of you that are line managers on the call today, you do play a really critical role in your team members' enjoyment and success, I guess. We really want you to be engaged. So as part of our closed programs, we will do a line manager webinar with you. That'll be something like this, where we'll take you through the specifics of the program and also explain to you your role and responsibilities to your team members. One of the things that you will be required to do is attend their quarterly reviews. So their one-to-one every 3 months is a quarterly review, and we'd like you to attend that, hear firsthand how things are progressing, and also just see if there are any other opportunities where you can support your individuals, your learners, in getting the most out of the program. The other crucial role you play is ensuring that they can get the opportunity to apply their learning in the workplace and actually get the time to apply their learning in the workplace too. So that means giving them time to complete their self-study, to complete their learning assignments, and also if their role doesn't give them the opportunity to apply some of these new tools and techniques, it's about looking in the wider context of the workplace and seeing if there are colleagues that can support them in perhaps attending meetings or taking on additional tasks and responsibilities, and that your support in helping them do that will be really crucial and really important to them. Provek believe absolutely in a partnership approach. So again, for those of you that perhaps are more senior stakeholders on today's call, we will do our best to give you full support throughout every single stage of this journey. So this is really just an introduction really to the programme. If you decide to do a closed cohort, then we'll have weekly or fortnightly planning calls with you and take you through a full structured implementation plan. We will hold a technical workshop where we'll talk about tailoring the programme and talk about bringing on internal subject matter experts. We'll have a line manager webinar to make sure line managers are fully engaged. And thereafter, once the programme's live, for those of you that have programme leads and it's a closed cohort, we'll also do monthly updates with you too. For those that enrol on the open programmes, we will again provide a monthly report to your line manager just to give you a full status of how things are going. But we will naturally be working with programme leads generally throughout this NHS engagement anyway. So that's kind of it about the programme really. Just to briefly touch on who we are as an organisation. For those of you who don't know us, we are a project management specialist training provider. We've been established since 1994, so we've got well over 25 years experience now in delivering things like consultancy, doing skills assessments and providing training, largely on a B2B sort of relationship. So we tend to work largely with businesses rather than individuals, and therefore help them develop their project management capability. And that'll be things like through consultancy. It might be we did things with, for example, Triumph Motorcycles, where we developed a full project management methodology. Skills assessments, we work with people like John Lewis and Waitrose, where we wanted to help them identify perhaps their high flyers and their talent, their high level talent, or help them recruit graduates onto graduate recruitment programs. And then training, we can take project managers through the full career progression, really, right from entry level right through to charter status. I've talked about our trainers. They're all experienced project and program managers. We don't recruit anyone who hasn't been there or done it. We have no textbook trainers. Every one of our trainers who you will get to meet will be credible, experienced project managers. We are also a member of the ERG Trailblazer group that actually created this standard. So we were there right from the beginning with this apprenticeship standard, and I'm still now an active member of the ERG Trailblazer group, as I believe Mike Gray is as well. So we continue to review the standard and will help to shape it as we progress moving forward. And as I mentioned, we also do have chartered and PPQ assessors. So we hope this isn't just the final step with Provek. If you do come on this programme, we hope maybe this will progress to other things that we can support you with as well. We've been delivering the programme since September 2018. We've enrolled over 500 learners to date now, and this is some of the great organisations we work with. Nearly every one of these organisations are doing closed programmes, and they're doing multiple programmes because the feedback they get from their learners, the difference it's made to their individual members of staff and also to their project management capability generally, is proving to be such a successful way now to doing project management training, that we're seeing now all of these organisations moving across from perhaps more traditional training, more commercial training, to these apprenticeship programs that are very much more about upskilling individuals in an organisation, and it's proving to be very, very effective as a way of achieving that. So that's kind of it. I think hopefully I've covered the key points. The main ones I really wanted to get across today. Hopefully I've got across that this is a really highly effective way of developing your project management skills. The on-the-job learning is such a crucial part of this, as well as the coaching. So you will absolutely develop in your confidence and competence as an individual if you decide to come on this type of program, but you will still get to really great and very credible qualifications as well as part of that journey. One of the things we've also learned from this throughout the last 2 years we've been doing it is that individuals develop their own professional networks too. So whether you do a closed program or whether you come on one of our open programs, you will get to meet colleagues that you've never met before from perhaps other regions of the NHS or from other organisations, and you will develop your own support networks, which will hopefully you'll continue to those relationships even after this program. This is a foundation degree program, so once you've completed this offers potentially a route to charter status. So maybe you could become considered to become a charter project professional. Certainly you'll need about 7 or 8 years experience of managing projects before you can do that. But this is certainly part of that APM career pathway. We also work very closely with the University of Cumbria, who are also an approved training provider with the NHS Project Futures programme. And you can fast track to their level 6 degree programme should you wish to perhaps gain your degree after this too. So if you complete our programme, you will automatically go to year 2 of their 3.5-year degree programme, which could be something you might want to consider in the future. Lastly, this because this is funded by the apprenticeship levy, the funding band for this programme is £6,000. So this is a £6,000 investment in your professional development. So clearly, you know, if it's right for you, this is such a great opportunity and one to really, you know, to grab with both hands, really. So thank you for listening. I hope that's been really useful and really helpful and hopefully relatively, you know, succinct. I'm going to stop talking now as quick as possible and allow you to ask any questions that you'd like to ask me before we move on.
Thanks, Glenn. That's been really informative, and yeah, I think you've covered the kind of like the whole broad range of the content, the structure.
Thanks, Justin. I've lived it a few times, so hopefully, you know, what I learned from along the way, the questions people ask, and hopefully we've covered most of those things. But I'd be grateful, you know, and pleased to see if there are any questions as well.
Yeah, fantastic. I did actually pop a message in the chat function, so there've been a couple of questions throughout. And thank you, Jez, for kind of responding to some of those as we went along. So if anybody else does have any more questions, please add them to the chat. I think we do have a hand up currently if anybody does want to come off mute. Lynn, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, hi, thank you
Hi.
for that. I have popped a few messages in and Jez has been kind enough to reply to them. So I work at Salisbury Hospital and I'm the apprenticeship administrator there, but I'm also doing project management through a different training provider, and I've found it very difficult. I'm going to be, I can't obviously disclose who it is, but Jeff, one of your lovely trainers, used to be my tutor at this other place. Yeah. And since Jeff has left, I would say that the quality of tutors has gone down. So we don't have any talk sessions. So I actually was meant to finish my project management apprenticeship in March, which I failed to do because I couldn't sit my PMQ because of the COVID. And when I got to sit my PMQ the end of March, did I take it at the end of March this year? It was on a completely different look. So I guess my questions to you how are you supporting those people that are on program started on maybe book 6 and it's now book 7? So I found my exam really hard because I'd spent my whole life learning book 6, which is one life cycle.
Yes.
And book 7 has 3 or 4, which was some kind of a shock to me. So just generally, mine is about the support that you provide for your apprentices.
So I'm actually in conversations with a lady by the name of Ella, who's identified there are 7 individuals. I'm also working with Simon Dennis as well. 7 individuals that have gone through a previous apprenticeship and are in a similar situation to you. So I don't know if you're one of those 7, but I think the crucial thing is the whole arrangement with NHS now is largely to take on new apprentices. I don't believe we're necessarily positioned to take on people that are with existing providers. However, there is some caveats to that. We will do our best to support those that have gone through apprenticeships with previous training providers. There are some commercial complications because ultimately those previous training providers have probably drawn down all the levy, which means there's no more levy to be able to cover your training if we were to do that for you. There's an additional complication in as far as I mentioned that we firmly believe we're about quality of training. If you've completed topics or parts of the syllabus with another training provider, we can't be sure how good that's been. And it's not to put any criticism on them at all, but we know if you go through our full program, we'll know you'll be prepared effectively. So I think the short answer is we probably should take this one offline, and by all means contact me directly, and let's see what we can do, because I'm having a similar conversation with, like I said, this group of 7, and I believe we can come to an amicable, and a workable solution with that. And I think we should probably drop me an email. And let's pick this up.
I'm not necessarily concerned about. So I have 3 people at the moment on the project management with this provider. I certainly won't be going back that way. So really, it's more about identifying and making sure that those things are in place for my new apprentices. Because at the moment, I wouldn't recommend anybody to do project management with the provider that we're using. And as a trust, I don't believe that we should be doing project management at that quality, because it's not enough for what we need.
I think just to reassure you, we've obviously gone through a very due diligent tender process and been thoroughly, assessed by the tender board, I guess. So, and they chose us because of our reputation within the business and the quality of our training. So I think I can reassure you that whatever you've experienced previously would not reflect what you'd experience with us. And you're absolutely right. As far as the body of knowledge 6 has been replaced by body of knowledge 7, this apprenticeship program now is very much aligned to the latest body of knowledge. So again, you've got no concerns if you start an apprenticeship with us, or if anyone does, they'll be on the most up-to-date syllabus, and there'll be no concerns with that.
So currently what we do, we don't have any training days at all now since Jeff left. And we did a 5-day course before, 3-day course, 4-day course before our exam. And that was really difficult. I mean, in one way, it's quite a good way to learn because you've crammed it all in. But I found it very difficult, and so did others on the course, because we'd been learning from book 6. And then at the end of it, you're learning from book 7.
All of these concerns you've got.
Something going forward, is it? That's something that's happened.
We've around 500 learners are going through the apprenticeship, and 250 odd have completed it now. And I think we've modified our apprenticeship program along the way, but I'm so confident that it's probably right there as a market leader in its quality. And I don't, all the concerns you've got there, please don't feel that's a reflection of apprenticeship generally. I think it's possibly more specific to that provider. And it's a shame that you've had that bad experience, but just to reassure people that they're thinking about doing this, I don't think you'll go through a similar experience. You'll be hopefully far better.
No, I don't hold this call, but I also it's 13 months with you.
It is 13 months, correct? Yes.
So
and so sorry.
Much shorter, because that's quite a lot of difference.
That's right. With the standard says 15 to 18 months. We've been doing this type of training now for over 20 years. We felt it would be far more appealing to learners and to employers if we could condense that without any sacrifice to the quality of the training. And that's what we've done. And I think, our success rates have reassured us that was the right decision. So I think overall that's been pleasing for everybody who's been involved with this, learners in particular, because they know it's a 13-month commitment rather than potentially a year and a half, sometimes even 2 years.
Yeah, that's good. And I think if you deliver the plan as you've sold it, that is possible, which is good. What else have I got? You do functional skills. I've asked about students and your online portal you've got. I don't think I've got anything else at the moment, Glenn, but I would like to email you guys, and I think Jocelyn is going to get Mike to contact me.
Yes, I'll follow up with Mike. Yeah, he's been leading on the apprenticeship and kind of work stream within the programme from HEE. So he'll know more.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you. No, some good questions there. Interesting ones as well.
Thank you, Lynn. We did have another question in the chat as well. Glenn, you mentioned that participants shouldn't hold a similar or equivalent qualification. Can you provide examples? Does this include Prince 2 Foundation qualification?
Prince 2 Foundation is fine. A Prince 2 practitioner is also fine. There are some commercial things which you as an individual won't need to worry about. It'll be something that we'll cover off with the NHS directly. But for you, the main ones to worry about is if you had the PMQ already. It's the PMQ qualification that you will achieve on this. If you had that, that's a challenge. Really. It's more that where there's overlaps, it impacts on the funding we can draw down. So it's not a really concern for you. We spot those things. We'll ask you things like degree modules. If you've done a business type degree, sometimes there's a little bit of overlap there, but it'll be there's small percentage overlaps. It's nothing for you to really worry about. And even if you've got Prince 2, it won't impact you on doing this program, and it potentially will help you. Actually, it'll be a good foundation to support you in some of the things we cover. The crucial thing I think is to stress here is that this program is teaching you about the core fundamentals of project management. It's not focusing on specific methodologies. We reference Agile, we will reference Prince 2 throughout, as in we'll touch on those. But what this program is designed to do is teach you the foundation core skills of project management that you can then apply within your processes. So it doesn't matter what methodologies you use, the underlying core skills is what we're teaching you that should be then something you can apply within the workplace.
Excellent, thank you. So can you just briefly expand on what you would do if you have already completed the APM PMQ?
If you have, you are not eligible to join the program because
Right.
The overlap is too significant. This is absolutely aligned. So unfortunately, you wouldn't simply be eligible, and that it's black and white as that. I'm afraid.
That's me out then. No problem, thank you. And just one last question, I think, just to finish up. Can you please confirm that your trainees sit the APM PMQ qualification and not the APM PFQ or
Yes.
APM PPQ?
Yes, great. So yeah, so this is referring specifically to the APM career pathway. So the PFQ is the fundamentals. That's the entry level. We don't. That's not part of this program. If you have PFQ, again, it's a really great foundational knowledge, but not essential. This program is aligned, and you will achieve the PMQ qualification as part of this program. That's incorporated as part of the standard. We have to deliver that. Yeah, that's mandatory. So you will achieve the PMQ. The PPQ follows PMQ. It's not something that's part of this program, but it's a great qualification that you could consider once you finish this program. And typically, yeah, that's more validation of experience and knowledge rather than the PMQ, which is about a qualification. So PPQ is more what we would call an accreditation, which is validating skills and experience. The PMQ is a qualification. It's an examination testing your knowledge.
Excellent. Thank you very much. That does bring us to the end of the session. Thank you so much, Glenn, for your presentation today and your time, and also Jez for assisting. And thank you to everybody who's joined us. If you do want more information, please do drop us an email. I think Christine put it in the chat earlier on, which is NHS Project Futures at hee.nhs.uk. And I'll also take a note of who joined so we can send some documents out to you as well with some useful links. But that's great. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks.
And enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nat.
Thank you.